live? Uh-oh. Hello? Did I do my whole entire intro? Oh, yep. So that was a hiccup. I don't know if I can take credit for that hiccup because it did tell me it was live and then it just didn't connect in. That's so wild. I did a whole intro for you folks. That's crazy. I was in here talking to myself in the void. Okay, do-over. Let's do a do-over. Hi. Hi, I'm VooDoo Val, and I have already thanked Anna for being fabulous and wonderful and amazing. If you did not check out her wonderful illustration stream, warm-up stream just before this, please check out the replay because it's great. And also please stay tuned after this show because there's always more amazing content coming up after me. I'm going to be working on the Photoshop challenge number 4 for this set of challenges today, and I'm pretty pumped about it. Take 2, yes indeed. Hello, Commander Cody, reporting for duty in the chat. It is good to see you. Thank you so much for joining. General Kenobi, hello there. Yes, there was a disturbance in the force. My bad. Keys, hello and welcome. I see Bex in the chat. Good to see you. Anna is still hanging around. It's good to see you, my friends. Wade, hello. Frunk, hello. Thank you all for joining. I'm very excited. I'm going to pop over here and show you guys the Photoshop challenge page so you know where you can go to get started and get all of the good details, all the good stuff for the challenge this month, which is just behance.net/challenge/Photoshop, and you'll know you're in the right place because it will have the April 1st to May 3rd date listed up here. You can click the button to take the challenge. You can zoom through the 1 through 4 of how does it work. And you can also scroll down here and see that all of the challenges we are working on do appear as they are unlocked for the day. On each challenge, you can hit that Get Started button to grab your Photoshop starter files, and you can also come back and hit Watch Video if you'd like to review the replay, if you need to come back and go over some things. You can also jump down here and take a look at all of our previous Photoshop challenges, which are arranged and organized by the date they were live, and you can also kind of zoom through and look through all of the challenges that belonged in that set in order, so it is all organized for you very easily so that you can kind of dive in here and jam on some past projects and past challenges. You can also check out the description below the video, right down here, where you will get a link to the starter file separately, the Discord where you can share your work and all of that good stuff. And I'm gonna pop over to Photoshop yet again, and we will go through our starter file. So this is what you will see when you open up your challenge. It'll say challenge number 4, mirror effects, using smart objects, gradient maps, and generative features to create a Rorschach Test style piece. Use the following prompt to get started. So I've added a little prompt in there because we are going to be using Generative Fill today to create some interesting elements for ourselves. But first we're going to kind of touch on the technique I'm going to be using for mirroring things, okay? There are a lot of ways that you can mirror items in Photoshop. One of them is like literally using the mirror tool. You can be duplicating elements and using the alignment tools to snap things into place and free transform and flip them and all that good stuff. But today we're going to be working on one of my favorite techniques, which is utilizing smart objects to do that. So what I'm going to do is come through here as I typically do when it comes to these challenges. I've got my info section separated from the rest of the piece here so that you guys can just hide it. What I'm going to do is hit actually we won't do this yet because we're going to do like a little smart object deal here. So I'm going to hide all of this, the mirror effect, the noise texture that I have created in here for you, and we're going to take a closer look at how smart objects can be utilized in the way I mean. So I'm going to just grab my polygon or lasso tool, and I'm going to click and hold shift so that I can get a perfectly straight up and down selection, and I'm just going to honestly I'm going to do like just like a random little butterfly thing here, okay? I'm not going to be precious about it. I'm just gonna make like one butterfly wing because it resembles kind of what we're gonna be doing today. I'm going to sample that, drop that in, and we are going to kind of do a little demo of how this works now. So I'm going to right click this and just convert it to Smart Object. Now, I find that sometimes designing half of something and making it perfectly symmetrical then on the other side is a little difficult. So mirroring becomes very useful in this, especially if you are doing a pretty intricate piece. So when we open our smart object, because you can open that container and edit that little area, what I like to do in this case is kind of separate them, which you can drag the title of that over and hover it there, and you'll be able to like kind of look at both of your pieces at the same time here. But before we get into that, the first thing I want to do actually is Control J on that smart object, Control T to free transform it, flip horizontal, and then we're just going to drag this out here so that it's aligned. In fact, I might bump that over by 1 pixel. So now we have a, I don't know, it kind of looks like a butterfly. It also kind of looks like a weird shirt or a bow tie, but it's good enough for us in this regard right now. Now, why is this important? If we're going to be mirroring something, if we're going to only be working on one side of things and have it mirrored on the opposite side, it is very important to convert the element that you're going to be working on into a smart object and then duplicate that smart object. Because what this creates is literally a duplicate of anything that is done in that first file. So changes to the first layer are also changes to the second one. This will not happen if you convert to smart object after duplication. Very, very important. So we're gonna call this left, that's right. We're gonna call this right. And we're gonna call this left, okay? So now, let's go ahead and double click that wing. We will drag this over here, and what I'm gonna do is click over here into this file. We're gonna kind of make this small over here so that we can see our project. And then we're gonna just look at our right side here. So anything that we change here, if I grab, I'm just gonna grab black, hit B on my keyboard, and I believe I just have like a hard round pressure opacity. You can test this out with your mouse as well, but since I have a stylus, I'll be using that. And if I go ahead and draw something, like maybe I want to, you know, if I had more time, I would draw some designs in here. You'll see it's not changing over here, but when I hit Control S to save any changes made to this smart object, boom, and it's mirrored. So I can come in here and I can paint around and do whatever I want, and any duplication of the smart object I'm working on will appear with all of those changes in my main file, which is really cool. So that is how we are going to be utilizing smart objects today. I'm gonna go ahead and group these, call this test, and we are going to hide it because we're going to do something more like this, which I think is going to be pretty darn cool. It's not going to come out exactly like this because, you know, this is kind of an experimental phase as far as what we're going to get with generative features, but we are going to try it out. So I'm just going to Control-Shift-In or Command-Shift-In on my keyboard to create a new layer. I'm not going to really name it because I'm going to duplicate stuff from this. And what I'm going to do is use my rectangular marquee tool just to select my whole canvas. And you'll notice that Generative Fill does come up in my contextual taskbar. If you don't have that open, you can go to Window, scroll down, hover over this little caret, click your caret, and simply toggle on contextual taskbar. And you can also, just as a quick tip, you can pin the taskbar if you want it to stay where you put it, or you can hide it if you prefer to not see it after you do this step. So I'm gonna hit Generative Fill. In fact, actually first, let's turn our info on. I'm gonna hit T on my keyboard and I'm gonna copy this little prompt. Control C. Okay, boom. So let's come back here. I wanna make sure that we have that. Generative Fill, Control V, butterfly ink blots with a messy texture, and you can alter this however you like, but we're gonna go ahead and generate and we're gonna see what we get. That taskbar is always popping up where I want to click. I should be pin it. Pin it. When the contextual taskbar first came out, it was something that actually kind of like, it annoyed me a little bit because I wasn't used to it at all, but pinning it just makes it part of the UI. So for my brain, it was really easy to start getting the hang of using it after that. And then once I did, I realized just how valuable it is to have it there. So definitely try that. So we've got like kind of textures, we've got like some strange butterflies here. This is kind of cool. We can hit generate again if we want to, and you can basically keep generating things as you see fit as you go through here. And one of the things that I like to do when it comes to using generative fill within Photoshop is, that's actually really, really cool. I actually really like that. I really like to kind of go through and find like a layer or two that I really like, and then I duplicate my generative layer and rasterize it to the version so that I can keep an original layer with all of this stuff kind of built in. That's kind of cool. It's like a monarch butterfly. This one's kind of cool, and what I'm really looking for is a version of something that kind of looks like ink blots. Like this really, really looks like inky blots and stuff, like paint thrown at the canvas, which is really cool. I might go ahead and go with this, to be perfectly honest, or with this one. In fact, maybe we'll go, let's hit generate just one more time and see if we get something that I like better. And you can, like I said, you can alter the prompt as often as you want. This one is actually pretty cool. Let's go with this. Let's go with this. We can peek at this one, but I'm gonna change the, I'm gonna change what this looks like so it doesn't have to be perfect, but I'm gonna duplicate, like I said, duplicate that generative layer. I am going to right click and rasterize the layer, and then I'm also going to delete the layer mask. So now I just have a regular layer, but if I come back here and open up my properties panel, you can see I've got all that stuff that I worked on before. So let's go ahead and snag part of this and use it to alter things around. I'm going to use my my regular lasso tool, and I'm just going to come in, if I can here, yes. I'm going to come in and just select a bunch of this. And if you want to come in and use something else, like maybe select subject, you can also do that. I want to make sure I have a version of this. I just hit Control J to duplicate that and pull it out, but we can also test select subject. If we come over to here, let's do select subject. I don't know how crazy this is going to be because, yeah, see, there's a lot of stuff happening. It actually did get this wing pretty well, which is kind of cool. So honestly, we could, if I wanted to go back to my lasso, hold Alt and cut all this away, and then just duplicate that. We also would have this, which is kind of cool. That kind of gives us like some ink blots, but I think maybe we'll just go with this. So we're going to bring this into the center here. And I am going to go ahead and convert that to Smart Object. Convert to Smart Object. We're going to double click and rename this as right. And then I'm going to duplicate that, and we're going to call this left. And then I'm going to Control T, free transform, flip horizontal, and then I'm going to line this up in an interesting way so that we have a butterfly here. And then I will select both of those, Control G to group them, and I'm going to call this main, so I know that that's my main piece, and then I will kind of center this. Boom. I like it. Now let's get into the smart objects and kind of start creating a really cool effect here. So I'm going to double click that right, bring it over here, and then I'm going to kind of drag this over here just a little bit so that I can focus on this and also see all of my my wings. And I might actually make sure I'm selected over here. I might convert this to a smart object as well, because I want to apply a bunch of different effects on here, like gradient maps and things, and I want to be able to work non-destructively within my smart object as well. So we are going to, I just kind of free transform to pull it away from the edge because our little wing tip is cut off here. And the first thing I'm going to do is use a little bit of Liquify. I kind of want to make this bigger and crazier and a little bit wild. So we're going to come up here to filter. We're going to go to Liquify, and it's going to pull up my Liquify window here. And with my smudge tool, or the forward work tool, I'm just going to start kind of like dragging out these pieces and like kind of warping this around and making it a little bit more interesting. Give it a little more intrigue and craziness happening. You can do all kinds of distortion filters as you kind of work through this process. I highly encourage you to try all kinds of things. You can come in here to the twirl if you want to do the twirl, because this is kind of crazy. You can alter some of these settings here so that you can see like the backdrop, you know, you can see what's behind it. I kind of like to see just my what I'm altering rather than what is underneath, because I am changing this completely. But creating, you know, some kind of drippy vibes is really, really cool here. And I'm going to go ahead and I'm not going to be too precious with it because we're coming up on our time and I want to get through how to do like the gradient maps and stuff. But this is kind of a cool way to do it. Just make something crazy. I just said cancel. Delightful. But hopefully, can I come over to and just re-liquify? No, I can't. Hold on. Don't you just love when you hit the cancel button and everything goes wrong? But that's why we do this live, so you guys can see some cool tips and tricks and also know that I don't do everything right the first time when I do this, unfortunately. I wish that I did. Would that I could, but I can't. Let's go ahead and grab some more of that twirl, do some crazy twirl. And let's go ahead and say, okay. Boom, there we go. And so I can also, if I wanted to, grab a new layer. I can hit B on my keyboard, grab some of that, and grab some dots here if I wanted to. And what I can do is liquify this as well. Filter, liquify, and do some crazy town vibes if I want, just to kind of add some more paint daubs or paint ink blots, things like that, of that nature. Could be cool. Some random stuff, and then I can kind of center that around. I'm not going to be crazy with this because this is about kind of getting this vibe in here and not so much kind of making it perfect. Let's go ahead and save that. And then I'm going to, kind of cool, could use some work. I'm going to go ahead and group those or merge those. And then let's do image adjustments, gradient map. How much time do we have? I think we're coming up to the, oh, we've got like 5 minutes left. Okay, so I'm going to add a gradient map to this. Now, when you guys do this, spend a little more time on it, make it a little cleaner, make it a little more fun, a little prettier than I am. But I'm going to create a gradient map, and as you know, I do have a really cool grouping of colors here that I think looks super nice together for you. So after going into my gradient map, I'm going to click this here. We're going to drag this over so I can take a peek at everything, and I'm just going to sample these colors from over here. So let's select this one here. Let's change this color to the darkest color there. And I'm going to add another color stop, so you can do that just by clicking under here and then selecting that color. And let's go ahead and click the next color. So we're starting to bring those details out. Add another color stop, alter that color. Let's grab our red color, which is already starting to look pretty darn neat. Add another color stop, sample this orange color, which is pretty cool. And then let's change this final color stop to the background color, like so. And go ahead, you can also kind of alter these. If I decide that I want to start changing up how these colors kind of bleed through, you can do that if you like, so we can say okay. You can also reverse it, and it really depends on what you're working on, but this is something that you can do. And then what I would like to do also, we can convert that to a smart object again if we want to. it's really up to you how many smart objects you want to use, if you want to merge them, if you want to rasterize your layers. But keep in mind that anything you do with smart objects, you'll be able to go back in time. Essentially, it's your time travel option, so you can always go back to your original versions. And then another thing you can do, which I kind of like doing this, only sometimes, but I do kind of like it, is the filter gallery. This has been, you know, like these effects have been around in Photoshop for so long, but sometimes when you're trying to achieve a particular texture, paint daubs is actually kind of nice. So I'm going to go ahead and apply paint daubs because it just gives us this like gritty, crazy texture that I really like. And I'm going to go ahead and hit Control S and save. So we've got this butterfly effect that I think actually looks pretty cool. And I'm going to close that. So we can come back to our main file here and kind of center that and create something cool. Now I also did like a noise texture on here, which I believe, if I'm not mistaken, I just filled a layer in with gray, went to filter, noise, and add noise. And I just like cranked it up. You can change from monochromatic to like color, Gaussian to uniform, whatever it is that you think would be preferable to you. You can also, I believe, change the levels to like make it more dramatic, but that'll give you like a custom noise texture just like this one, which is basically what I did, and I threw that on a soft light layer. You can even increase that because I kind of turned it down, and it looks like, to me, like paint kind of bleeding across a canvas. And like I said, like I really think that you could spend more time to make something a little prettier than what I created, but I like it. I think my favorite one, however, is the one I spent a little more time on with the Liquify, where I really went in and added some pretty crazy detail, and I even painted a little bit myself. But that is how I like to mirror things in Photoshop. So I hope that you all have enjoyed this. I hope you've had a good time. Please stay tuned because there's more coming up after this, and I will see you next time. Adios, folks.